In August 1987, Charlton Athletic Football Club opened their new training ground and clubhouse in Sparrows Lane, Eltham. These new facilities represented a total expenditure by the club of over £500,000. This investment was a result of a new policy formulated by Chairman Roger Alwyn and the then manager Lenny Lawrence to strengthen the commitment of Charlton to training, especially that of the youth squad. Roger Alwyn explains why this policy has been of such fundamental importance to the club.
I think firstly that we decided that we weren't in the position to compete with these mega transfers that still seem to be about, and we decided this is back in 1987, to buy the training ground and to start a very strong youth policy, hopefully to produce our own players and not have to compete with these, I think, stupid sums that seem to be being paid by some of the clubs.
And that would appear to be a success, looking at the first team.
I think it's been a tremendous success. If you look at the first team at the present time, there are certainly 4 regulars, possibly 5, and certainly 1 or 2 in the wings as well. And looking at our current youth team, I think the potential for the next few years is absolutely tremendous.
Today, Charlton's commitment to youth training is greater than ever. One man who appreciates the benefits of a strong youth training programme is first-team coach Alan Kirbishley.
Well, obviously, the size of our club, we're not a very big club, so the youth policy is our lifeline, really. It's our lifeblood. We need and we rely on the youth players coming through, and that is why it's essential that our youth policy has got to be one of the best in the country.
Where do you think the team would be without players of the calibre of Scotty Minto, Darren Pitcher and Kyle Leeburn at the moment?
Well, it's obvious. If we didn't have them sort of players available to play in our first team, we'd have to go out and buy them. And as I've said earlier, as we haven't got the resources of some of these big clubs, we wouldn't be able to match them in the transfer market, and we'd be in a bit of a state, really, if we didn't have such a youth squad.
Why would a young player join Charlton above the other clubs in this area?
Well, I feel that we've got a lot more to offer than some of the other clubs in this area and some of the bigger clubs. Firstly, our facilities are first class. We've got the best coaches around, youth team coaches, to educate the boys and to bring them on. And the most important thing as well is if any of the young lads show any sort of promise in a squad the size, in the first team squad the size we've got, sooner rather than later they're going to find themselves in the first team. And obviously if they're good enough they stay there, and anything could happen to them after that.
In pursuing their policy of increased involvement with youth training, Charlton Athletic have had the constant support of club sponsors, the Woolwich Building Society.
Well, I think we as a society are always looking to support youth, and the Charlton position on the youth teams is very good. From an outsider's point of view, they back their youth teams and their youth policy seems very strong. As you know, we support the Junior Reds, which is the Junior Supporters Club, and the Junior Robins, and in fact every young Charlton fan that joins the Junior Reds gets a Woolwich account so that the two names are linked, and we make sure they're linked.
The training facilities at Sparrows Lane are among the best in the country. Here's player coach Steve Gritt.
We've got this magnificent training ground here. We've just opened up the new all-weather pitches just over there on the training ground. This is something that we've certainly not had while I've been at the club, and I mean I've been here 14 years now. I always remember at the Valley all we had over there was basically the car park spaces, I think. But there's a lot more facilities now for the youngsters. Obviously we've got John Cartwright as well, who is a first-class coach. Obviously he was with the England setup as well, so that's obviously that's to our advantage. And they're basically the major changes that have happened over the years to our youth policy.
Player Andy Gray described for us a typical day as a member of the Charlton youth squad.
Well, really it's quite a long day. We start at about 9:15. We come in, we've got to do pros kit and pros boots. We've all got to be ready for 9:30. Normally we begin training about 10 o'clock, finish around about 1:30, and then we've got to go in, tidy up after the pros, have lunch, and then generally clean out the clubhouse and it.
Joining the Charlton youth team needn't interfere with a player's education. Boys are able to attend a local college as part of a day release scheme. Here's Youth Development Officer Jimmy Hampson.
With the day release courses, what happens is the boys, the YTS boys, they come in here, they do their normal working week, but on a Thursday they have the day off. They go to college and study sports, recreation and leisure course, City and Girls Part 1 and 2, because not all boys make it in football, and it gives them something at the end of the day to go away with. We also do a BTEC course with the colleges, and that's for boys with 4G CSEs with C or over. If they have that sort of grades, then they can go and do a BTEC course. That also incorporates in that BTEC course a business studies and finance element.
Of course, one of our lads, Vernon Lacey, is actually doing his A-levels at the moment.
Yes, with Vernon, he was with another prominent London club and was offered an apprenticeship. He felt that he wanted to stay on at school to do his A-levels, and that club wouldn't allow him to do that. He had to leave. We did have a word with him about it, and we came to an agreement with him and his parents that Vernon could stay on at school and come here 2 mornings a week to do his training, then return to school in the afternoons and do his 3 days normal working at school to study for his A-levels in business finance.
Both this school and Charlton Athletic very cooperative with each other, and there's no problems there.
So the situation was you were actually with another team, but they weren't happy for you to continue schooling?
No, they wanted me to go take a full-time YTS, and I didn't want that, and so Charlton was the obvious choice.
Players who move into the area to join the Charlton youth team are put up in lodgings close to Sparrows Lane training ground. One landlady, Mrs Bramble, became involved with Charlton when her grandson played for the youth squad.
You must have had quite a few lads stay here over the last few years.
I had him I had him when he first left school, before he left school for a week, and then he came with me for 2 years till he was professional. Steve Brown, does it matter all these names?
Oh no.
Steve Brown, he's the other one, and I've had a couple of chappies from Newcastle, schoolboys, and I think some from Liverpool, just for a week for trials, you know.
Of course, diet is very important for young footballers. Is there anything special you have to feed them?
Well, I think I give them a balanced diet myself. I haven't looked into it, but I think, you know, and I know it's important they have to have fresh vegetables and things like that, which they do get.
Now, I want these wide players to have these options about coming inside. Now, just mark me down. Now, as I come inside, because I've changed you over, you're better with your right foot and you're better with your left, you should be natural now to hold the ball away from that defender. Now, as you're coming in, that's when you fellas there can make those nice little diagonal runs. So as I'm coming in there, yes, make those little diagonals, tuck them back in there. Now, don't make straight runs. And again...
Charlton Athletic pride themselves on the quality of their youth coaching. To this end, they have recently signed coach John Cartwright, who was England youth team manager before he joined Charlton.
Well, I think Charlton Athletic Football Club seems to have come through a period where they had some problems, and I looked at the situation it is at the present time, and they seem to have set themselves on course with a very good basis. Their organisation right through the club is excellent. They've got themselves drawn up along continental lines with team managers and a general manager that looks after the running of the club itself. They have excellent facilities, and I thought that it was an opportunity for me to come along and join in that work.
How does the setup here at Charlton compare with other clubs you've been involved with?
I think extremely good. The whole facilities, both on the training side and from what I've seen of the new ground that's being built, everything looks fine for the future.
What exactly makes a good young footballer?
Well, all the obvious things, such as technique, good skills, having a good tactical understanding, good physical qualities. All these are very, very important. But overlying all those things players must have a very good attitude for the game, and to work hard, and the desire to do well.
Charlton Athletic also run a regular School of Excellence for younger boys living in the area. The club also holds a School of Excellence at Beckton. Some of the boys who attend go on to join the Charlton youth team. Indeed, it is Charlton's ultimate aim to build players all the way up, from the School of Excellence, through the youth team, to full-time professional status. Club director Derek Ufton told Steve Dixon how this policy benefits Charlton.
You only have to look at our present first team to know that 5 or 6 of those boys came through the youth policy, in fact got to the final of the Youth Cup. And so to see those boys develop and attain first team status, albeit at the moment the second division, but hopefully soon in the first division, and I think that they are capable of attaining that, several of them anyway. And of course that is all due to good coaching and good surroundings.
Andy Gray, in common with all the boys in the youth team, has one burning ambition.
Just to get in the first team as quickly as possible, really.
One player who has achieved that ambition is Carl Leeburn, seen here in action against Fulham.
Nelson with a chance for Charlton. Gary Nelson for Charlton. Leeburn surely. Leeburn scores for Charlton. 1-0. Carl Leeburn scores again.
We spoke to Carl about the development of his footballing career at Charlton.
Well, I think I was just playing well in the youth team, and at Charlton, for the young players, there's a lot of chances to come up in the first team. I think at other clubs where, you know, there's like stronger teams and bigger squads, you could be like a young guy, be 3 or 4 years before you get in the first team. You know, at Charlton, you seem to be able to get your chance.
And of course, you got a goal in your very first game, didn't you?
Yeah. Didn't know much about it. Like, you're young then, and you're just running about really. And I think it was Colin Wolves put the crossover, got me head to it, and in the back of the net.
Another player in the current first-team lineup to have risen from the ranks of the youth squad is defender Darren Pitcher.
Yeah, I joined Charlton as a schoolboy in 1984. I was 14, carried on through the youth team till I was 16, joined the reserves, and proceeded through the reserves onto the first team, which is what I'm playing in at this particular moment in time.
What was it that persuaded you to join the club?
Well, first of all, I'd been to West Ham and I'd been to Fulham, and I came down to Charlton for a couple of weeks and had a couple of weeks trial. But the setup here was a lot better here than what it was at West Ham and Fulham. We went down to West Ham and there were sort of like 60 lads down there training, and you were sort of getting one go every sort of 10-15 minutes. But when I came down here, we were training just across the road over the Lee Valley, and Roy Passy was taking it at the time, and the training on that was a lot better and helped me out a lot more than any other club that I went to at the time.
Number 3 shirt Scott Minto is also a former youth team player.
You made your first division's debut at 17. That must have been quite a nerve-wracking experience for you.
Well, it would have been, but I was only told 2 hours before the kick-off, so it didn't really give me much time to be too nervous. But from then on, when I got a run in the side, the night before the games, I was quite nervous, yes.
First division football at your age, you've now played something like 80 matches. That's quite a total for someone of your age, wouldn't you say?
It's not too bad. I mean, the thing about Charlton is they do give the opportunity to the youngsters, so I've been fortunate enough that they've given me that opportunity to do that.
Of course, the major talking point at Charlton at the moment is the imminent return of the club to the Valley, Charlton's traditional home base in SE7. Work is well underway on completely refitting the stadium. The Valley will soon rank as one of the most modern and well-equipped football stadiums in the country. At Charlton Athletic, everyone from the top executives down takes an active interest in the fortunes of the youth squad.
You actually get along to see the youth team?
Yes, I try and watch them as often as possible. In fact, what happens when we're at home is that as the youth team, as the South East Counties play on a Saturday morning, it's quite possible for me to come and watch the youth team in the morning and watch the first team in the afternoon. I get tremendous enjoyment out of watching them because it's played in such a tremendous spirit. It's very relaxing. I find it much more relaxing than watching the first team, obviously. And the spirit is always tremendous, and I think it's a great opportunity. I hope a lot of our fans will come and watch them as well. I know everybody in the club likes to watch them.
Above all, Charlton Athletic Football Club provides a constructive and happy working environment. The last word goes to Jimmy Hampson.
I would say they're all happy at the moment. There's a buzz about the ground. I think with the new management team and the new coaching staff that's coming, and generally Charlton is an happy club in any way. It's a family atmosphere, so boys that come here can't go wrong.
What would be your message to any parents who are thinking of sending their lads to Charlton?
Got nothing to worry about. They're in their best hands.